Let's start with the Wood Memorial, and we'll go in chronological order because the Wood Memorial will take place about 6 o'clock on Saturday. And Brooklyn Strong, John, is a very interesting horse because of the fact that he's been really good well. His sheet line is really good. He's been better each time out. It's not perfect because his best race was a 9, but at least the 9 was his last race. It's been a while. First race of 2021, so he hasn't raced in a while. He's 6-1, but he is coming off a grade 2 win on a sloppy track at this distance. The odds are nice. That's the thing I kind of like about this horse the most is I think I'm going to get decent odds on the horse. I wouldn't even touch the horse if he goes off at 5 or 4, 3-1, but 6, 7, 8-1, I'm intrigued.
Well, he's interesting. He hasn't done anything wrong. His best race of his life was last time out when he ran on a wet track. If the track came up wet, obviously it would improve his chances. The good thing about this horse is that he's fresh. This is his first race of the year. So you could be sure that he's one of those horses that aren't going to be squeezed to the max. He's probably going to give him this race and hope to get his best effort in a month from now. How is he as far as points is concerned, Mark? Is he in contention?
I don't even think.
I do not have him on the must-win list, so he must be in contention, John. I have a bunch of horses that are tagged just on the outside looking in. He is not one of them. He won the Grade 2 Remsen. That should be worth enough points, to get him up the ladder, much like Soup and Sandwich did last week, hitting the board. So I don't think this is must-win at all by any means for Brooklyn Strong.
I don't see him in the top 20, though. Where is he?
Is he in the top 20?
I don't see him in the top 20. Is he?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So then he needs points.
I think you're right on that, Greg. I didn't see him in the top 20 either, and I didn't tag him as a must-win.
Maybe he was just so far outside your observation that
he has to get some points for the Remsen, doesn't he?
I don't know if the Remsen was a point.
Well, that was in December, so that doesn't count, right? Anything in the prior year, or does it?
It may have been 10 points. It may have been, the earlier the race is, the least amount of points for them.
All right.
Well, if that's the case, he needs this race because he has nothing. He's not even on the board to be seen.
Yeah, I think he needs to win.
The reason may be that this is a New York bred, so maybe they never thought that he was Derby material, and now he's turning out to be Derby material as far as numbers are concerned. He's getting better with each start, and they figured, what the heck, we'll give him a shot. If he runs 1, 2, 3, then he'll have enough points.
Okay. All right.
That's the thinking here.
The 2 is Crowded Trade, a 4-1 shot, 2 races, 11-8. Nothing wrong with that at all. Was second at the Gotham. Unfortunately, he did fade there after he had the lead down the stretch, and he did go to a mile for the first time. Now he's going to go to a 1 1/8, but I don't think we should worry too much about that because this is only his third race. I just worry about 4-1.
Well, he's Chad Brown, and obviously Chad Brown has nothing but good horses. Listen, he's lightly raced. He hasn't done anything wrong. He only has 2 starts. I mean, 4-1 is a short price. However, going into the race, he ran the last fastest number, I believe. And if you're looking at that counts for something.
Yes.
But at 4-1, he's really not much of a bargain.
Yeah, and actually, if you think about it, out of all the horses in this race, only one horse ran a 7 or better. That's it. So
yeah.
That's now you know why he's one of the favorites.
Yeah. And the connections also.
Yes. All right. The 3, nothing to look at there, right?
No, I don't like this horse. And he's coming off of Lasix also, so that's somewhat negative.
Risk Taking is the favorite at 5-2. Chad Brown. This is the second horse in the field for Brown. This is Ortiz, another good rider on board here. All 3 of his races on dirt, he's gotten better each time. 19, 13, 11. He was the winner of the Withers back in February. But again, you're talking 5-2, and he doesn't even have a single digit number yet.
At 5-2, you really can't play him. I understand he's never done anything wrong, and he has a license to improve again. But from an odds point, I mean, you're really up against it here. You're taking a short price on a horse that's in a race with clearly faster horses than a minute, so he doesn't excite me at 5-2, that's for sure.
So, John, which of these 2 horses, the 2-horse Crowded Trade or 4-horse Risk Taking, both Chad Brown horses, The 2 horse is right now, he's in the Derby. He's tied for 18th with 20 points. It's going to be a big, huge race for him. But this 4 horse is on the outside looking in. He's got 10 points. He's tied for 27th. They're both Chad Brown horses. Would you think that Chad Brown would crank up one of these 2 horses that he feels best to be in the Derby?
Well, he's going to try to get the 4 in because he thinks he's good. But I also know that out of the 2 horses, I think he's leaning towards the 2. He uses sheets, and he's been in contact with the office. And from what I understand, he's very close with one of the bosses there. And I think he likes crowded trade better, from what I understand.
And why wouldn't, just looking at the morning line as well, why wouldn't we want crowded trade? He's got better odds. He has a better number in his last race. So it would make more sense that crowded trade would be the pick over risk taking if the odds stay the way they are.
You're right.
Okay. The 5 is Dynamic One at 12-1. Now this is the horse that ran the 7. Ran the 7 in December. In that race, he finished second. He broke his maiden finally in his last race when he ran a 15. So that's I don't know. I mean, he goes from a 7 to 10 to a 15. That's not what you want to see.
He's really going in the wrong direction. That's the minus. The plus is that he's 12-1, and he's the only horse that ran a 7 in the race. Yep. No one else has run a 7. You'd rather see it going the other way, 15, 12, 7, whatever it is.
Then we wouldn't get 12-1.
Right. But the bad news is that he actually won that race with a bad number, but that's the race he broke his maiden. He ran the 15 and won.
Yeah. He was a heavy favorite. He was the favorite of that race.
Well, he was a favorite
of almost every race, yeah.
Yeah, based on his previous 2 starts before that. The knock I have on this horse is he is coming off of Lasix. And that's, again, everybody's in the same boat as far as that's concerned. It's all the first or second year that this has been going on, where all these horses aren't running on Lasix. And if you notice, Greg, a lot of the other stake races, even on Saturday at Aqueduct, they have a bunch of stake races, and all they have are 5 and 6 horses in the race, and the fields are short, and no one could understand why. Well, I have a theory why, and I'm thinking that the fact that they're all coming off of Lasix has affected the trainers on wanting to run them. You know what I mean? I understand they're stake races, and a lot of them are big money, but they don't want to take the chance of running them without Lasix, because if they bleed without the Lasix, that could result in a long vacation. It could take Right. It could take them 6 or 8 months to come back. So they'd rather pass up on these big races and keep them in training and keep them racing. So I think, while they think they're doing a good thing by taking horses off Lasix, I think it's a mistake, and I think it's hurting the game and it's hurting the product.
All right. So I know we have 3 races this week, so we don't want to get too involved. We'll talk maybe more about this at another time, but just quickly, what's the difference between the timing when you have to come off Lasix?
They're not letting you run in any graded
stakes race. Okay.
Right. Or any Derby prep. No Derby prep.
Right. Well, most of those Derby preps are graded stakes.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Right. So any graded stakes race, you can run.
The oval horses, like they have the Bayshore, they have a bunch of stake races on Saturday where all the horses aren't in the Carter, 5 horses. I can go through all of them and show you. Well, the Gazelle has 8 horses, but that's all you're going to see. You're not going to see big fields anymore, and it's bad for the game, I think, especially if you're interested in gambling. If you want to watch the races, go ahead and watch them. That's a lot of fun, but not, people are trying to make money. So you can't make money in 5-horse fields.
So, and that's the reason they're short fields, because the owners, the trainers, they don't want to put them on Lasix.
I don't know that to be a fact. It's just my opinion. All of a sudden this year, since they're taking all these horses off Lasix, the fields are so short. It has to be something.
So when you and again, the big difference between taking a horse off Lasix is with the bloodstream and everything. What's the whole?
If bleed in those races, if a horse bleeds, usually it results in a long layoff, 6 months, 8 months.
Okay. All right. But bottom line is when all of these horses, the only difference is if you race a stakes race earlier in the year, then you come off Lasix, then you could have a couple of like a race in between where now you're maybe you've already raced without it, right? Whereas another horse might have not raced in a big race before. Now he's coming into that first stakes race off Lasix. That could be a big difference. A horse that's already off of it compared to a horse that is now just racing for the first time without it.
Right. And you don't know how horses are going to react.
Okay. That doesn't mean they can't win. It just means you don't
know.
Believe me,
a lot of these trainers use a substitute for Lasix. They'll find something else to use. When they go to Dubai and run in the $20 million race, they don't have Lasix there. There's no Lasix in any races in Dubai.
Okay.
So, I mean, the horses bleed there also. So obviously they're using some sort of substitute for Lasix. Okay. But that's a different conversation for a different time.
All right, the 6 is another favorite at 3-1 prevalence, and yet this horse has only run 2 races, an 11 and a 10. So exactly why am I excited about? Why am I going to put money on a 3-1 horse that has run an 11 and a 10?
Well, that's why if you can figure out who's going to win this race, or if you have an opinion in this race, you should be betting it, because both favorites in here, Risk Taking, who's 5-2, and Prevalence, who's 3-1. The first 2 choices are slow. They're no faster than a lot of other horses in the race. So when you have that opportunity, you should shop for a price and try to take advantage of it. You know, there are times when the favorite looks like a standout. Well, that's fine, but that's not the case in the Wood Memorial this year.
All right. The 7 is 12-1. There's nothing to like about, I mean, this horse should go off at 25-30-1.
It's Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado, who are having a terrific year. However, off the figures, they don't belong.
Yeah, 25 last out. Wayburn. Now,
he's also a horse with 10 points, guys. It's right now just on the outside looking in here.
He's going to stay on the outside.
Yeah. Wayburn, the winner of the Gotham, is coming off a 9. So this is another horse that is getting better odds than the horses, yet Wayburn has got the better number, the 9 in his last start, almost 5-1. So what's not to like about Wayburn at 5-1?
Well, I think this is his first time around 2 turns, if I'm correct.
Okay.
I don't the paper here. So
yeah,
this
he's
is
only run a mile. That was the Gotham.
Right. So now he's going around 2 turns, and 2 turns is a completely different game. We don't know if he can handle the distance, if he can go that far.
He's also got 50 points in his holster here, guys. He doesn't really need this win.
No, this is going to be a learning experience for him, you know, and an education.
All right. And then the 9 is another long shot. The only thing that's good about the 9 is he's gotten better each race. But the last time out, his best race was just a 14.
Who is Dexter Haddock?
What is that? Is that a...
The jockey.
Is that a trivia? What is that?
He's the jockey, and I've never heard of him.
Oh, Dexter Haddock. Okay, I thought that was the name of a movie. Who's Dexter
and
Haddock?
I've never heard of Pierce either, to tell you the
and
truth.
Who's Penny Pierce?
Low-profile connections. They'll be every bit of 50-1. If you like them, go for it.
All right, so you tell me where you're going, John.
I really don't know what to do. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I want to see prices.
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to.
I'm going to kind of go the 1, 2, and the 5 in some sort of exacta kind of deal.
I think you're right. I think you have the right idea. You know, believe me, if you get anywhere near 12-1 on the 5 horse, you know, I have a hard time believing that Ortiz and Pletcher are going to really go off 12-1. But if they do, this horse has that 7 to go back to, and he's going to make a forward move because he's not going to continue going backwards. So he may be the value in the race, and you have the right horses, the 1 and 2. I think you want to play against the favorites here. The 6, I certainly want to play against. The 4 at least keeps winning with those races, and it's Chad Brown, and, you know, he's New York-based and everything else that goes with it. Brendan Walsh doesn't race on the East Coast, hasn't run at Aqueduct. He's coming off of Lasix. You know.
Like you said, a lot's going to determine the morning, the odds at post time.
Right. But the live horses in the race are the 1, 2, and 5, like you said.